Welcome to the first segment of our journey together. We call this chapter The Person Behind the Music. Hello everyone, and welcome. I want to start by introducing myself properly. My name is Anesha, born. You might know the music, you might know the songs, but I want you to get to know the person behind the music. And I have to be honest with you right now. Doing this, speaking like this, it is super hard for me. I am naturally shy. Well, maybe not shy, but I am not open to being in the public eye. I don't like having eyes on me. I'm the kind of person who likes doing my thing in the background. If someone else wants to be the face of it, let him take the credit. I don't want the publicity. I don't want to stand out. Honestly, the way I look on camera sometimes drives my anxiety up the wall. I look at pictures and think, that doesn't look like me. Or how does the camera actually portray who I am? It brings up a lot of insecurity. So, as I still work through being in front of the camera, you will be talking to my AI calm. Now, I need to address the elephant in the room. I know many of you don't like AI, I get it. There's a lot of fear around it. But for me, AI is a tool, and it is a necessary tool. I am a person who writes from the heart. I write my own songs, I write my own lyrics, but I lack the contacts in the industry to help me sing them. I don't have a team of producers, I don't have the network. You have people out there on the radio right now who have all the contacts. They have the money, the studios, the fame, and what are they writing? They are writing songs that go hippie bobby boo, just nonsense. How many times have you listened to the radio and said, I can't believe this is what's popular. It has no substance. It has no soul. But here I am. I write something that is from the heart. I write something that can actually help people. And without this eye tool, where would those words be? They would stay stuck in a book. They would stay hidden in a notebook, in a drawer, helping absolutely no one. So, I use AI to produce the demos. I use AI to help me express the message that God gave me. My hope for this music is for God to use it as He sees fit. I use AI as a tool to help people follow Christ. It reminds me of the scripture. What you meant for evil, God can use for good. If this technology can get a message of hope out of my notebook and into your ears, and I'm gonna use it, I am now allowed to share my heart with you. So, who is sharing his heart? Who am I? I am a grandmother, I am a sister, I am an aunt, I am a daughter, I am a friend, I am a wife. I am also a lost sheep. But most importantly, I am a child of Christ. And that is why we are here. I don't want this to be just another lecture. I want this to be the safe place. I want this to be a meeting of the minds. Because sometimes it is easier to talk to a stranger than it is to talk to the people who know you. Sometimes they'd have to leave home to find your voice. The people closest to you might judge you for your past, or they only see who you used to be. But here, we can just be real. If that sounds like something you need, if you need a safe space to just breathe and be honest about your walk, I'm gonna have a link below. Click that link if you want to show interest in building this community with me. Because a lot of times we hunger for the word, we want to know what it means, we want to do the right thing. But our flesh is weak. It is so weak. And that brings me to one of my favorite examples in the Bible, Peter. I think about Peter, who looked Jesus in the eye and told him, I would never forsake you. I would never tell anybody that I don't know you. He meant it with his whole heart. But he still denied Christ 3 times. And here is the beautiful part. God knew he was gonna do it. And God still loved him after that. And tells me that we don't have to be perfect in our walk. You're gonna stumble, our flesh is gonna fail us, but we do need to acknowledge it. We do need to repent, ask God to forgive us, and try to do better next time. Even though I walk every day, my flesh is still weak. I still cry out and ask him, when in a modest way. When I ask him to change me, I am learning. And I want us to learn together. Welcome to segment 2. In the first part, I told you who I am now. I want to tell you about the mistake I was making for most of my life. I want to talk about Monday morning. We all know Sunday is for the hallelujah, for the suit and tie, for the nice dress Sundays when we look the part. But Monday is the rat race. Monday is when we hit reset and go back to doing what we always do. For a long time, my Mondays proved that I didn't really know God, I knew of him. I was what I call a socialized Christian. I grew up in it. I knew the songs, I knew that Jesus died on the cross, so I just knew I was good. I was living what I call a funeral lie. You know how it is. Someone passes away, and no matter how they live, no matter if they ever repented or sought God, everyone at the funeral says they're in a better place. We say that because it comforts us. We say that because if we don't say it, we have to question our own lives. But the Bible is a massive read and it's complicated. It says, many are called, but few are chosen. So are we really all in a better place? Or are we just comforting ourselves while we walk through the gates of destruction? I had to look in the mirror and ask myself, am I really good? My mindset was, as long as I don't break the 10 commandments, I'm good. But I was drinking to get drunk, I was cursing, I was dating without being celibate. All of my children were born out of wedlock, and I justified it all. I thought, God understands my heart, I'm not hurting anybody. I went on about my Mondays believing I was safe, but I was blind. I didn't fact check my life against the word. I was just listening to what people said instead of what God wrote. And then something unexpected woke me up. And it's funny where God finds you. He found me through a Cat Williams interview. Yeah, that interview. The one everyone was talking about, honestly, I didn't want to watch it. It was 2 hours long, and my time is valuable. I didn't care about the gossip, but everyone kept talking about the hype. So I finally tuned in. And in the middle of all that, Cat Williams said something that stopped me cold. He said, I'm gonna be God's best friend. That hit me in my chest. I sat there and thought, I wanna be God's best friend too. But then the conviction hit. I realized I was a horrible best friend to God. Think about it. If you have a best friend, you honor them, you respect them. You don't just call them when you need money. You don't ignore their texts all week and then show up on Sunday acting like everything is cool. I realized I wasn't invested in my salvation, I was just attending it. I also realized I didn't understand the spiritual war I was in because I didn't understand false prophets. They operate just like the devil did with Eve in the garden. They don't tell you a total lie. They give you just enough information to get you to follow them or buy from them. They hide the full truth because the full truth might change the outcome. They don't want you to make an informed decision. They want you to be a customer. I didn't understand that people are actively attacking their salvation. The Bible says, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but I was out here fighting people when I should have been fighting the spirits. So before we get into the heavy details of my story, we're going there next, I needed you to understand where my head is at now. I ain't no longer satisfied with just being good. I want to be God's friend. And to be God's friend, I had to be honest with him about my pain. Stay tuned for the next segment. We are going to go into the darkness so we can find the light. Welcome back. In the last segment, I told you I wanted to be real. So I need to share the parts of my story that usually stay hidden in the dark. I mentioned earlier that the world corrupted me early. The first time I was sexually assaulted, I was 5 years old. If that had been the end of the trauma, maybe I would have been okay. But that was only the beginning. It was just a sign of what was to come. It happened again when I was 8. Then again when I was 11. That was the first rape. It wasn't one person. It was different faces, different ages, different situations. And when you go through that as a child, the devil tries to plant a seed in your mind. You start thinking, do I have a target on my back? You start asking yourself crazy questions like, is there a scent I'm giving off? Is my demeanor calling for them to do this? What am I putting out there? I want to stop right now and speak directly to the women listening who feel that way. It was not you. We are not all created equal in our circumstances. We all have different crosses to bear. Some have it harder than others. But the thought that you caused this, that is a lie. There was nothing I did that caused them to abuse me. And there was nothing you did either. People are dealing with their own flesh. Most abusers have been abused themselves. Some repeat the cycle. Some go to the opposite sex. Some explore wild sides. You are not responsible for their brokenness. I am not a therapist. I am not a doctor. I am just looking to be a friend who tells you the truth. Ask God to rest your soul. You have to be willing to welcome the healing. But I have to be honest about the part I do struggle with the guilt. Not the guilt of the act, but the guilt of the silence. When I was 11, I stayed quiet. I was ashamed, I was embarrassed. I felt like it was my fault because I opened the door for him to walk in when he had already been told to stay out because he was drunk. I let that shame silence me. And because I didn't talk, he was able to go on. He eventually married a woman who had a daughter, and he had free access. He went to jail eventually, but I struggled with the thought. If I hadn't stayed quiet, maybe he wouldn't have had that chance. I am in my mid-40s now, and that happened when I was 11 day by day. I have to remind myself to forgive the little girl I was. So please hear me. Don't allow the devil to stop you from saving someone. Find a safe way to speak up. Shame thrives in the dawn. Don't let your silence be the door for someone else's pain. We have to understand that silence doesn't protect us. It only protects the predator. And breaking that silence is the first step to taking your power back. But the story didn't end at age 11. The cycle continued into my teenage years and adulthood. And that is where I had to learn the hardest lesson of all. Radical forgiveness. Stay tuned for segment 4. We are going to talk about becoming a teenage mother and how I forgave a man who didn't even deserve it. When I come back, we talked about the little girl. Now we have to talk about the teenager. When I was 14 years old, I got pregnant. By that point, I had stopped going to church for one reason or another. And let me tell you, the world was cruel. People looked at me like there was something wrong with me. They saw a fast girl. They were just looking for someone to catch in the act. I got caught doing what a lot of kids I knew were doing. But what they didn't see was why. They didn't see that my boundaries had been broken since I was 5 years old. They didn't see that I was looking for love in all the wrong places because I had been taught that my body was public property. I was so ashamed that I hid the pregnancy until I was 7 months alone. No one knew I carried that secret, just like I carried the abuse. But God is gracious. I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. And looking at her, my mindset shifted. I made a vow. I said, I will make sure no one is able to take advantage of her. Isn't that the real goal of every mother? To give our children better than we had, to stand in the gap so the curse stops with us. But even though I protected her, I struggled to protect myself. The cycle didn't stop just because I became a mom. When I was 16, it happened again with someone I dated. When I was 30, it happened with a person I was in a relationship with. I just didn't want to. And he couldn't take that as a no. And this brings me to something I struggle with: red flags. When you've been through what I've been through, you develop a sense for it. You can almost predict what a person will do next. You see the behavior. But I have to be real with you. Sometimes I see the warning signs, but I don't look at them. Why? Because I still want to believe that people can change. I want to believe that it will work out. I want to love them enough to fix them. And because of that hope, I force myself to relive things over and over again. I've walked right back into the fire because I ignored the smoke. I've gotten a lot better at it, but it is a battle. Now, I want to share something that might shock some of you. It's about forgiveness, and it's about justice. The man who assaulted me when I was 30, he was later murdered. When people hear that, they expect me to be happy. They expect me to say, good, he got what he deserved. But I don't feel that way, honestly. His fate was worse than what happened to me. I can only hope that he repent from his sins before he died. Because if he didn't, his hell will burn him for his acts. Nothing I went through could be worse than an eternity separated from God. You have to understand, an act of abuse is a moment in time, but the consequence of sin is for eternity. I cannot allow his actions to dictate how I live my life. If I held on to hate, if I celebrated his death, that hate would just lead me into sin, and then I would have to answer to God for that. Even the man from my childhood, I see his Facebook page. Sometimes I see people supporting his business. I don't scream, I don't wish him harm. I just wonder, has he repented? Has his heart changed? I would rather his soul be saved than wish harm on him. Because if I didn't want that, I wouldn't be any better than the people who won't let me change. I have to let go and let God. It is hard. It is humbling. But that is the only way to be free. We talked about the past. We talked about the trauma. We've talked about the forgiveness. Now I want to talk about how we survive it. I mentioned earlier that when you go through trauma, you develop a skill for seeing red flags. You can see the storm coming before it hits. But seeing it isn't enough. You have to act on it. So I want to speak to the woman listening right now who is currently in the fire. Maybe you are in a situation like I was, abused, silenced, or judged. Maybe you are seeing those red flags right now and you are scared. I am not going to sugarcoat this. Here is the practical thing you need to do today. Report the issue to the police. Do not carry the burden of silence like I did. Do not let shame keep you quiet. Silence does not save you. It only serves the person hurting you. If you can't call the police yet, call a hotline. There are people waiting to help you who will not judge you. If you are dealing with sexual assault, call RAIN at 1-800-656-HOPE. If you are in a domestic violence situation, call 1-800-799-SAFE. And then pray. Ask God to give you the strength you need to overcome. Ask Him to give you the strength to go through what has happened, not just around it. We can't blame ourselves for what people do to us. We have to remember that Christ can heal all wounds. But you have to be willing to welcome that healing. You have to open the door to it. And that brings me to the future. That brings me to the vision of Anesha, born. Why am I doing this? Why am I using AI to get my voice out? Why am I telling you the darkest parts of my life? Because I want to create a space for you. I want to build a community where women can heal. A place where you can tell your story and not feel ashamed. A place where you stop blaming yourself for the sins of others. I want it to be a place where we can admit that our flesh is weak, but our God is strong. Where we can admit we are socialized Christians who are finally learning to be God's best friend. One of the biggest problems people have is that they get so lost in the trauma, they forget to use it for the greater good. They stay broken. But God did not call you to stay broken. He called you to be whole. He called you to be free. I am Anesha. I am a grandmother. I am a mother. I am a survivor. And I am a child of God. Thank you for listening to my story. Now, let's start writing yours. I'll see you on the next episode.